were just complaining because we wanted the tree all in the shot. And
So pretty.
our producer was like, no, that's not going to happen. So welcome. I am Danielle Valentine. We welcome you back. I hopefully am on the right side. I was instructed by my dad that I sit on the wrong side, but this week I picked this side because, as you guys know, and I was told I had to share the story. I was in Florida last week, and I brought back, like, I am 34 years old. 34 years old. The face should be clear by now. I use all the good products. RNF people, do not send me a message after this. I use great products. I brought back like a friend. Like literally he packed his suitcases and all that. So that's why I'm sitting on the side. So the whole night I'm going to talk just like this. So hopefully that's okay. So that's why I'm facing. But I want to make sure I'm on the right side because I was told that I need to sit here. This is my spot.
Okay.
So, yeah. Welcome. We have, I would say, I mean, it can be a sad topic, but a very knowledgeable topic today that I'm excited to bring awareness. So, Sip of Solidarity, we are all about bringing awareness and educating you more on your life and just things. And so that is why I reached out to you. Well, actually, you reached out to us.
I believe I did, yeah.
You did. So please introduce yourself and then kind of tell us, why are you here? Besides drinking awesome Starbucks.
Besides Starbucks, which we do not sponsor.
Yeah, we are not a sponsor of Starbucks. However, if you'd like to be a sponsor, just contact us. But
Please. I
I am going to tell you, did anybody know that on Thursdays when you buy a Starbucks, you get a Starbucks free? So I can justify spending $6 on a peppermint mocha when I get a free one. Any other time, I cannot justify it. So next Thursday, everybody go to Starbucks.
Are we good?
Yeah, we're
Okay.
good. So tell us who you are, why you're here today.
Okay, so my name is Katie Hominsky, and I did find your show from Rebecca, who was on your show, which
Who
I
just joined. Hi,
who
Rebecca.
Just joined. Hi, Rebecca. And I found out you guys were actually friends too, which I didn't know just 5 minutes ago, which is awesome. So
Rebecca claims me.
Yeah,
Aw.
yay. I actually think you said something where you did have a segment coming up about somebody that was supposed to speak.
Yes,
But got sick.
a very good friend of
Okay.
mine and Scott's, Joanne. She has suffered from leukemia for several years, had a bone marrow transplant, all of that. She was supposed to be on our show,
Yeah.
and she just was not feeling well at all. And each day is different for her. Some days are
Right.
great, and some days aren't. And that kind of led us kind of to the
Right.
topic.
It kind of opened up everything.
Yeah.
So I'm a very outgoing person, and I talk with my hands a lot, but I'm going to try to keep them under the table half the time.
You got to sit on your hands because that's what
I know, right?
my mom is watching tonight because my dad is home, and she's always like, "Put your hands under the table."
What are you? What nationality? What are you? Are you
I'm Irish.
You're Irish.
I'm more Irish.
I'm Italian.
Irish,
Yeah.
Italian.
I always
European.
tell people when they go to do their toast at weddings, if they're Italian,
Oh, yeah.
they have to put their hand in the pocket.
Yeah, you have to. put them in
I
your
honestly
pocket.
don't think I have any Italian in me. I just
There's also a lot of other things at an Italian wedding that we are not going to discuss on the show. So
that's a whole nother topic.
That's a whole nother
we
topic.
our last 2
yeah.
weeks ago, we had a show on Jewish traditions
Okay.
and Christian
I
traditions.
didn't see that one.
Oh, let's just say we
It
picked.
got rowdy.
It got rowdy, and
Jews like to party.
Oh, I gotta watch that.
Jews
Oh,
like
yeah.
to
That's what she
party.
said. That's
Oh.
what
She
her
did.
words.
She did.
That's awesome.
She said a lot of
Oh
words.
my gosh, I missed that.
You got to rewatch it.
Oh, I gotta watch that. Okay, what was I saying? I was introducing myself. We're gonna be here for a while. So I'm Katie Hominsky, and there goes my hands. And so I did reach out to you,
Mhm.
and we were saying about how you were having somebody on your show, but then it got canceled. And being that I am a very outgoing person, I don't mind at all talking about my story. And it basically goes back 10 years. And do you want me to just start right into it?
Sure.
Okay.
Let's get started.
Let's get started. So I am now 33 years old. And actually, when I say that out loud, it is actually a very young
Do you forget
age.
how old you are sometimes? A couple years ago, like 2 years ago, I legit had to go, what year were you born?
Right.
Minus
Minus
year.
this,
How
bring
old
out
are
your
you?
calculator. Yeah, I've done that.
Ugh.
Especially when a doctor has told me years ago that I have a body of a 75-year-old. So when I actually say out loud I'm 33, I kind of like, well, that's actually like young.
Young.
It
Yeah.
is. But I feel in the last 10 years alone that I'm very old. I just 'cause
You've
I've
been through a
it.
lot.
I
You've
have.
been through a lot.
I have, let alone when I first met my husband, I at 19 and then 20, and we got married at 20. I took on 4 boys, so everyone thought that was crazy.
He had 4 boys.
There's 7 kids altogether. So there's actually he had 6 kids, and then we had Vinny, which was 7. Yeah, I know.
I'm speechless
it's-
for the
yeah.
first time.
You're
Got
welcome.
Got
Yeah,
nothing.
so I mean, I was a 20-year-old, and
Yeah.
I took on helping raise 4 boys, which
Wow.
were the ages of there's twins, 11 at the time, 10 and 8. So yeah,
Okay.
and they're all grown now and whatnot. And Vinny's 12 and he's still at home. So, but yeah. So it starts off with that, and then we had our son.
That'll age anyone.
Yeah, I think that probably is where it started with the aging thing. And I remember that I started to have some eyesight issues
Okay.
when Vinny was like 3 to 4 months old. And then I went completely blind in my right eye. So I was at the eye
and you
doctor.
had no idea, like this
No.
was just happening. Like
It was
okay.
just, yeah, it just kind of happened. And everybody kind of has like blind spots. Like if
Mhm.
you ever have, do you have glasses or contacts?
I have glasses, I just don't wear them.
Okay, I don't have any new contacts, so that's why I'm wearing my glasses. But yeah, so you've been to the eye doctor.
Yeah.
So first of all, who likes the pressure test where they shoot the air into your eye? I have a panic attack with that.
Funny story,
Yeah.
just real quick, because Justin's downstairs. He hadn't been to an eye doctor and couldn't see. Literally was like, not blind, but let's just say he can't see 10 feet in front of him.
Okay,
And he wouldn't go to an eye doctor because of that. I
Yeah.
had to call the eye doctor and say, can you please not do this test?
yeah, it's a pressure
So
test.
he'll get glasses.
I'm sorry, what now?
It's a pressure test.
Yeah, it's where they shoot air right in your
Like
eye.
you literally sit forward on a
Okay.
chin like this, and you see the device.
Right.
And I actually have to say they have to hold my eye open,
Mhm.
and they have to check. They check the
But
pressure.
I can tell you from learning this because of Justin, you can tell them that is not required. You can tell them you don't want it.
Correct. However,
But
if
in your
you're having
situation-
issues, they need to check the pressure in your eye.
The worst pain of my life, and I've had a lot of different kinds of pain, was I got sawdust in my eyeball,
Oh.
and they had to put like a full-size eye contact
Yes.
on the eye,
Yes.
and then irrigate it with saline.
Yeah.
And you just gotta lay there. Well, the water's just it's like being waterboarded.
My husband.
Not happening.
Apparently, his one eye is always the one that gets something in it. Like there's been glass and there's been metal pieces in it and whatnot. And now he owns a mechanic shop with our 2 sons. And then the one day, I got something in my eye. I go, is it the eye? And he goes, yeah. I'm like, well, did you wear safety glasses? No, then I don't care. I love my
This is
husband.
my new best friend,
Yeah,
guys.
it's okay.
Because that's what I would have said. Well,
Yeah.
don't want to hear
So
it now.
then I don't want to hear it. So anyways, so I started to lose my eyesight. Then I went completely blind. I did the visual field test where you like with the blinking lights, and it was all black. Basically, besides like one little spot that was white. And he's like, oh my gosh. So they're like, we need to schedule an MRI and figure out, because I can't, the doctor was telling me that he couldn't physically see with all of his instruments there. So fast forward, they did it, and he's like, I said, what are we looking for? And he's like, honestly, this is like an MS thing. But I wasn't having
So right away, they
right away.
knew that was a
Right away.
MS symptom.
Yeah. I could have done
I'm just angling for you.
that. Okay.
That way you guys can talk.
Oh, good idea. Maybe I should.
Yeah, we have to cover up my guest, remember?
And this
telling
is,
you.
this is my good side.
I even use a Mary Kay concealer, and Mary Kay ain't even covering this baby up. He's got like 3 carry-on bags.
Can
and
I tell you that nobody would have noticed that? Literally. After we watched this, I can't look. I can't even see your face.
She thought it was a birthmark. It was that big, guys.
Eyeballs.
Aww.
Sorry.
My husband's on. Hello, Angel. He's so cute. Anyways,
So they knew right away that was an MS symptom.
it was
Okay.
an MS symptom, but I wasn't having any other symptoms at all,
Okay.
as far as I remember. So we did.
But you're 20, 21 years old. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I was 21. 21? Yeah, 21. And I remember doing the MRI, and they said, okay, well, there's no lesions. And again, I was already knowledgeable about the disease. And again, because we talked about this before the podcast. So I took care of a woman with MS when I was 18. And I lived with the family, so I was very knowledgeable. Plus, my mom had one attack called monosclerosis, and that consisted of one lesion towards her right shoulder blade. She woke up paralyzed from the collarbone down, and God basically healed her within 2 years. She never took any MS drugs. She was never physically diagnosed, and she was great. afterwards.
Yeah.
So here, what had happened is we did the MRI and they're like, okay, you have optic neuritis. And I was like, what is that? And they're like, it's actually a symptom of MS, but there's no lesions on your brain. And I'm like, okay. So fast forward a year, I was basically on steroids for a year. I could move a car. It's totally fine. If my kids looked at me funny, I looked funny back, and then some. And that was a fun year. Yeah, prednisone is. Try. Okay, so that's just pills form. So.
And I do it for 5 to 7 days, and let's just say on day 4, you might as well send out a warning because I'm lean and
stay out of the area
for a whole year. No.
Yeah, a whole year. It's
I have caution tape
yeah,
around me.
I really needed caution tape, to be honest with you. So what had happened is after that, things settled down with symptoms and whatnot. I always was sick, whether it was a virus or a flu.
Mm-hmm.
And when MRSA came out.
Yes.
I got that. Mm-hmm. Gave it to Vinny when he was a baby because I was breastfeeding. That was fun being mom and breast. Yeah. It was bad.
So when did this fast forward?
I have a question,
Yeah.
and mostly just I don't want to use the word ignorant, but for audience education purposes.
Yes.
People use the term MS all the time.
Yes.
Can you give us like a 2-minute synopsis of MS 101?
Well, and we talked about this, how each person's different.
Okay.
And
you know what I'm saying? Because
Yes.
We got a lot of people tuning in tonight. A lot.
Okay.
So if we were to break down what it is, how it functions, what it does,
Sure.
can you just kind of give us just a little synopsis of that?
I can try, but not in 2 minutes. However,
Go.
With multiple sclerosis, it's called the snowflake disease. And what that means is every single patient is different. Even when I met a lot of women and men that have had the disease over the years saying, okay, we have the exact same symptoms. Some can function, some can't. So it can consist of, eyesight, eye problems, numbness, tingling, heat intolerance, what they call an MS hug, where it wraps around your body, and it's like an episode that can last between a second to days where you can't breathe, which then causes anxiety.
And you were explaining to me that each person has different
person-
symptoms,
each person- and
even
even-
developing.
Right. Each person, let alone, has different symptoms. Even if you meet someone with the same symptoms, it can still feel differently and they can still handle it differently. So that's why they actually call multiple sclerosis the snowflake disease, because it's like a fingerprint.
Yeah, it's different every person.
If that
I like
makes-
that though.
Yeah.
I like that
So
name of it.
everyone's
It makes sense. A little
right,
bit.
and everyone's different. So after the year and whatnot, being sick on and off, and
That is his wife. That is his daughter, and this is my daughter. We just had people walk in.
it's okay.
So if you're seeing us
It's
all
t-
all over the place,
It's all good. Like
Hashtag shameless plug, Sheena's Platinum Movements.
okay.
Yes, his wife brought my daughter home from dance.
All right. So, at the end of 2009, so our son was born in 2007.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
So
our
then,
kids are the same age.
oh really?
Mm-hmm. Olivia was born in 2007, September.
A girl?
Mm-hmm.
I betrothed them.
We can
We're new best friends.
be best friends. Or
We're gonna go bring it back to the centuries ago. I'm kidding. I'm a very funny person.
I'll have a couple questions
Yeah.
later.
Yeah. Oh, actually, yes. So
Make sure I can check some boxes off.
Can you remind me what I just said? I have a bad memory, and because I have to tell you something very funny that my son said that I really don't want to say on air. But let's just say he went to health class. So
Nope, we're in the same boat.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, anyways, back to why
Moving
we're
on.
here. At the end of 2009, my ring finger and my pinky finger. Now, if I start talking where I'm not making sense, you need to let me know, because let alone I still kind of do have what they call an MS brain, because there's lesions still that are healing on my brain. And I just did chemo 8 months ago, but I'll get to that. So it's like chemo brain. Gosh, it's stupid.
Yeah.
So my pinky finger and my ring finger on my right hand towards the end of 2009 started to go numb on and off.
You had no issues during your pregnancy.
Nope.
Okay.
Oh, well, no MS issues. I lived in the bathroom for 9 months on the floor. that was my pregnancy. People are like, I love being pregnant. Nope.
Never again.
Never again. Well, what's really funny is after the diagnosis, that there was some medication that I had to go on. I know I'm jumping forward. Like, well, do you want any more kids? And that was my, there's 7 altogether. I'm like, Tone, do you want any more? No. Okay, well, I'm going to go get to the, doctor because I'm not asking you. You don't even go to the doctor. So
Yeah.
I'm just, we didn't, if I ever wanted another one, actually MS took that away from me, but I'm good. 7 children, 1 gave
Done.
birth, and I lived on the bathroom floor. So
No,
that was
thank
not
you.
fun.
No,
Nope,
thank you.
I'm good.
So your fingers started to go numb.
Yes, they started to go numb, and then I kind of chalked it up to being a mom of 5 boys and a toddler, was in the mix.
Yeah.
I also apparently don't have a sane brain at the time because I also had 2 dogs. One, if not, I don't know if I had the second one yet, but I bought a dog at the time.
With 5 boys.
With 5 boys at home, and it was a male dog. Apparently, I don't like girls. I like Danielle though; she can stay. So, and then I just chalked it up to the holidays, and Thanksgiving. We have like 30 people at our house, and I wrap all the presents, and for the
You
boys.
just were overwhelmed, and
Yes,
it just happened.
overwhelmed. So I chalked it up to like maybe this is like a pinched nerve.
Yeah.
So it was just on and off. I woke up on February 11th of 2010. It's my grandmother's birthday. That is the only reason how I remember the date. And I woke up and it was numb all day. It wasn't like before a couple months ago. It was like on and off. I woke up and it was numb.
Just that area.
Just this
Okay.
right here was all numb the whole entire day. And I just kept shaking my hand, this hand. It's still numb. I don't like to do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I just kept shaking. I'm like, what? And I'm like, I really do think I have a pinched nerve. So I ended up calling my mom because, that's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And I really thought it was a pinched nerve. And I was like, do you know what test that they use for a pinched nerve? And I'm like, is it that needle test thing? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do
Never
that.
mind. I'll just deal with the pinched nerve.
It's funny that's, didn't want to do a needle test, and I ended up getting diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. So regardless, and we were me and my mom were kind of silent on the phone, and she was asking me like other things like, is it weak? I'm like, it's my fingers. And we were real silent, and right away I'm like, it's not that. So I already knew.
You knew.
Right. And I'm like, Mom, and even she doesn't want to say it. We're very words of affirmation. Like, I'm not saying that. Like, it's not that. Leave it alone. So what had happened is between February 11th and February 20th, I was diagnosed. And in between those days, I went and saw a primary care because the next morning it went up. Like, it was the whole thing. And it was like this, and it wasn't at the elbow. It was the strangest thing. It wasn't cut. It was like a little further up right here. And I was like, no, so I called and did the primary care doctor. Mm-hmm. And they're like, you need to see a neurologist. I'm like, oh, here we go. And got into the neurologist a couple days later. And by the time I went to the neurologist, I don't wear makeup a lot. I did for this, so you're welcome. I remember taking my grandmother out for her birthday, and I was doing my makeup, and my right eyelashes were numb. And that I was like, that is the strangest thing I have ever, like,
well, and there
physically.
Is feeling there, because when I put mascara on, I can feel them.
You can feel it. But my physical eyelashes, I was like, okay. So then I started to write down my body. Mm-hmm. And realized that my entire right body was numb. Now, it's kind of like when your foot falls asleep before it hurts. That's what it felt like at first.
That tingling.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they said, go see a neurologist. So by the time I went to the neurologist, I was limping. I remember sitting on going.
And this would have been in the time frame of it just a few months.
Between February 11th and February 20th. Yeah. Like, okay. How many days is that? I'm terrible at math. Where's
9.
my husband? 9 days. Oh, look at that. There you go. 9 days. So I was sitting on the edge of the tub I think I was shaving my legs, and my right leg just went, and I go, yeah. So that's when me personally, I knew. You knew. Before I even went to the neurologist. So I went to the neurologist, and they're doing, okay, do this, and the weakness.
Oh, those fun tests.
And the touching, and she's like, okay, we need an MRI. And I remember my mom came with me, and she's like, okay, are we looking for anything besides multiple sclerosis? And she's like, yeah, brain tumor. I'm like, okay, so we're going to go with MS. And my mother-in-law died of a brain tumor 1 month before the date that my son was born, which is absolutely like devastating for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, even though it's been 12 years, it's just still like the fact that I don't even care if she was in a coma, like, and like I would have had him early. But regardless.
That's right. I lost my dad 2 months before my son was born.
See? Yeah, she passed May 14th, 2007, and Ben was born on June 14th, 2007.
Yeah. No, that's a totally different conversation, but I get it because one of my biggest and the last couple years of my dad's life were not a good life.
Yeah.
He was a severe alcoholic, but I have said a couple times where if he could have just held him, like just for 2 seconds, like, I needed that.
Yeah, right. Like selfish me. I'm sorry.
Selfish me needed that.
I needed that. And it's okay. Yeah. So we scheduled the MRI. Like I saw her during the week. I don't remember the date, but all I remember was it was like that following Monday. And I ended up calling her 2 days after my appointment. And I was like, I am deteriorating fast.
Yeah.
And I'm not able to walk almost. She goes, can you just give it one, like go to the ER. But if you see, you can talk to me, you know what I mean? Like, I really do think this is MS. But
so it was an attack. I mean, it literally.
Yes, it was an attack.
Okay. So for fibromyalgia, they say it flares up. Is that kind of the same thing for MS? It's just instant.
Yep. Well, it can be instant and it can be gradual.
Okay.
It depends on where the lesions are located on your brain or on your spine.
Okay.
So she's like, just wait till tomorrow. If not, go tonight. So the next day I'm like, I can barely walk. So we went to the hospital and they got to do the MRI, and then thanks to my mom, my very first like the eye one was like in and out in 5 minutes or whatever. It was my mom's like, okay, well, even though I was never diagnosed, but they found a lesion on me 20 years ago, like down close to the shoulder blade.
Is MS a genetic
They
thing?
say it's not.
Okay. But that sounds pretty coincident because your aunt had it, your mom had it.
On different sides of the family too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's ridiculous. I have
well, I can tell you, I don't know. I honestly don't know much information, but my mom has been diagnosed with POTS disorder.
Yes.
My oldest brother has something like very similar things, but hasn't been diagnosed with it.
Autoimmune.
I have a lot of leg issues and circulation issues, so I think that it is. And POTS is like a sister of MS? Like, yes. Is it like a... Okay.
It's like a sister. And then also with... lost my train of thought. What happened?
So you went to the doctor, you were going through the test.
Oh, yeah, did the MRI. So my mom, because of my mom's history, my very first long MRI, instead of just my brain of 30 minutes, it was like over an hour and 40 minutes.
Okay, because they wanted to check everything.
Yeah, they did the MRI from here up.
Okay.
My brain and my spine. So you had to have, at the time, so many lesions on your brain to be diagnosed with MS. It was like 4 to 6 lesions, and I was right there. And they look like little tiny like white dots on your brain, and they could be shaped differently. They don't have to be complete circles.
And what makes it a lesion? Is it a brain? Is it a bleed?
It's not a brain. No. So that's the MS. That's what it is. They develop lesions on the myelin of the brain. And the best way to describe it is if this is your brain, or if you're taking wire strippers and you take them and you strip the wire, what's exposed? You see, like the wire inside the protective. So that's where the nerves come in.
Okay.
So when the lesions go on the brain and on the spine, it's basically stripping the nerves, and they're exposed. And that's why the sensations and stuff happen. Pain comes in.
Yeah.
And I had one lesion about that big.
Wow.
And they're not supposed to be that big. And they told me that it was like 0.1 away from them wanting to biopsy it. And I was like, okay, we're fine.
Do they watch them? Do these lesions grow?
They can.
Okay.
So that's why I declined in 9 days. That fast. Because that lesion was huge. It was very big.
Do lesions? I'm so fascinated in this to a certain extent. Do lesions? So
I'm here all night.
I have a blood clotting disorder. However, they've told me it's not a big deal, but they diagnosed me with it. But I've never had an issue with it ever. They told me like you can go from 0 to clot in seconds. Did you have no lesions, and then all of a sudden these lesions happen, and that's why you declined so quickly?
Yep.
Okay.
That's
so
what happened with me.
Yeah.
So there's people that can have lesions on their
brain.
brain.
You're a quick snowflake.
I am a quick snowflake. I like that.
I don't know.
So many meetings.
I love it.
That's awesome. But there could be so many people that,
happen gradually,
that have 25 lesions that can.
Well, I know my mom, my mom in general, my mom, and she's probably listening, and I hope she doesn't care that I'm putting this all out. she was somebody who knew everything and memorized everything and could remember. If you told her something today, she could tell you at 10 years from now the exact words you said. But slowly she did start, hers was more of a slower process. And then it took them like 5 years to diagnose her.
Oh, yeah.
And she swears, and I don't think this is true, but she swears that my brother is wonderful, my younger brother, he did it all to her. And I'm like, he did not. Like, that pregnancy sped it up.
Yes.
Is what she says. She said that she had symptoms and she had little things. And then as soon as she had my brother when she was, I want to say like 32, 33, somewhere around there. I might be completely wrong. But as soon as she had him, then it went quicker.
Yeah. It basically.
Man, I've told her she's a liar this whole time and you just told me she wasn't.
She's like, definitely not.
Like, Branson did not do that to you.
Yeah, no, he definitely did. For sure. Unfortunately.
See, it's all his fault. I hope she's listening.
It's not his fault. Technically, it'd be the father's fault because that's how,
But,
okay. But it's just.
That's a different show topic as
that's
well.
A totally different show. Yeah. So here with pregnancy with women, a lot of people, first of all,
do you think that's why? Because how old was your boy when this?
That's what awakened it. Was me being, because he was 2.5 years old by the time I was diagnosed. But then again, I went blind when he was 4 to 6 months
So I
old.
should not have more children since I already have a little symptoms of my mother's.
That's your justification.
That's my justification.
Okay,
I already have some symptoms.
If you would like to get real deep, and I know I can with you because I know you're a woman of faith because we've talked about this. And despite why was I diagnosed with MS? It's a part of my testimony. It is what it is.
It is.
Why did God give me this journey? It's, have I had days where I've cried or yelled or wanted to punch things? Yes.
Definitely.
I'm Italian. Let's go. Like, don't look at me funny. You know what I mean? Or or do you feel like he just keeps piling and piling and piling things on that you can't handle?
Yes.
Absolutely. And you're like, okay, are we done? And I mean, I had a brain tumor scare.
But look what you're doing with it. And that's what we're going to get to.
We're going to get there.
We're going to get there next, to the actual whole meaning of the show.
Right.
But you went through this, and it sucked.
Oh, it did.
But you are one of those women, and this is why I love your story, and I love you so much. Like, instantly, I was like, oh, she's my people. Is you wallowed a little bit, but then you stood up and was like, I'm going to tell the world, and I'm going to help the world with this. And you used it as a testimony, and that's what I love.
Yeah.
And so as you went through this, you then started to get treatments and stuff like that. So give us a snippet of what the treatments look like, and then we'll kind of go what you're doing with this, how you're using this to help the world.
So when I was first diagnosed, there was only 3 medications for multiple sclerosis. There was 3 shots. Funny.
What year was it?
And she does not like shots.
I don't like shots.
Isn't that a coincidence?
No, in 2010. So in 2010, there was only 3 medications for multiple sclerosis. And I started off on Copaxone, which was a tissue shot once a day. What the irony of the story
So what is the difference between a tissue shot and a muscle shot?
Do you know anybody that is diabetic? Have you ever seen an insulin shot?
I'm a vet assistant. I have taken care of doggies
that
are diabetic.
Those are definitely muscle shots.
What I've noticed lately is people have it's like
pagers.
It's like mounted to them now, where it's automatically.
They can. Yeah, that's
different. That's extreme. But like, I honestly don't know where somebody, a person.
All right,
gets
so
a diabetic
in high school, my friend Rick, that's the only diabetic that I've known personally where I was like really knew him.
I guess my ex-mother-in-law.
And
was
he
diabetic.
would do his shots. It was like in the side of his abdomen or his buttock area.
So tissue is tissue.
It's fat.
This is
it's
tissue.
your fat.
Yeah.
Okay. Underneath that is a muscle. So a muscle shot needle is going to be anywhere from this big to, it's a muscle shot. And the gauge on the needle.
That is one of those things God knew I couldn't handle that one.
Right?
Yeah, you okay?
Listen.
If it's a dog, I can handle it. If it's a human, nope.
So, and the gauge, which means the thickness of the needle, is thicker because it needed to go into the muscle. So it's what's funny. Right. Okay, but this is me. Let me just tell you.
Nope.
We didn't even wait till she might need make sure she doesn't faint when I get to my last treatment.
She did.
Okay. I'm just letting you know because you're going to. Okay.
I'm a vet assistant. I worked in the surgical department at King County the dog. If my kids are bleeding, I call my mom. Thank God she lives close. Every time my kids are bleeding, I call her. I faint.
Yeah. So
shots, not going to happen.
Can we make sure she's not going to hit her head? Because we're going to get into something
my tree will save me.
Because I actually I don't do a lot of like the Throwback Thursday, the hashtag stuff. I use hashtags. But I felt nostalgic today, and I looked back on my HSCT story. I'll get to
Yeah.
that, and I was like, wow, I did that.
You did
like,
that.
Holy, like it's very surreal. So I opt out of the muscle shots, and I did the tissue shots because there's no way in this world that I will ever give myself a muscle shot ever. So
Is there a difference in
the medication?
Yeah, or the
They're stupid.
working better than the other. What word am I
No.
trying to?
The
Quality.
The
More
statistics.
More effective. That's what I was looking for.
More
Working.
effective in the statistics is what you're looking
Okay.
for. So no, it's just
What you can do.
Yeah. And also it's just MS drugs. They call them DMDs, which are drug modified or something. I know it's DMDs. I forget. There's someone,
Google it.
Just Google it.
Google
If
it.
one
I
of-
love Rebecca.
If any of my MS friends,
I'm
are on,
grounded,
they can too.
according to my
Is it
dad
DMD?
on here.
DMDs. It just like went right out of my head.
Okay, we will come back
disease,
to
disease stratified.
Medical disulfide?
No,
No.
it's disease modified drugs. That's what it's called. That's what it stands for
Okay.
for MS.
Okay.
Okay, so then the way my neurologist explained to me is that they all kind of have basically the same ingredients in them. Some are a little different than others.
Just how you take
and
them.
it's just, and if I would have known at the time about HSCT, I would have done it a long time ago. So here I started off on Copaxone, which was a tissue shot. I would give it, I'd go to a corner of like a wall and put my arm up and do a tissue shot here, do them, like I'd rotate, do them in my stomach, do them in my legs. I have permanent dips in a couple spots on my thighs, still from that 10 years ago. And after that, I started relapsing a lot, especially with my eyes too. And my neurologist at the time, this is what happened. My neurologist at the time was like, I loved her, but she's like, you're getting too complicated for me. She was just a regular neurologist. I was actually her only MS patient.
Okay.
And I was super young. So she wanted me to go see a specialist. I will not mention what hospital because it was not the hospital's fault. I am now at Cleveland Clinic, but I was at a different hospital. However, I'm hoping at this point this man is retired. So I went and saw the MS specialist. He repeated my MRI. I just kept relapsing. And by the way, when you relapse, I was diagnosed with relapsing remitting multiple sclerosis. So you would have a relapse and you would be treated with steroids plus your regular medication. You would try to bounce back and live on your life and just keep it. That's just what it does.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about steroids. When you relapse, you're in the hospital for 3 days, 3 to 5 days. I was never in for 5. 3 days with 1,000 milligrams of prednisone a day.
They
3,000.
give me like 25 milligrams, and by day 4, I turn into like zombie.
So you can
kill
only
somebody.
imagine. And being that I
Wow.
was actually brought up, in a Christian home and stuff like that, I actually, for almost my whole adult life, never actually heard my mom swear. And I'm not gonna. It wasn't a bad thing. But she sat on the edge of my bed when I was diagnosed, and she's like, "This might turn you into And she said,
Mhm.
"A dog." I
Mhm.
don't want to say it on air. So, and I was like, "What?" I was told, and I was like, "What are you talking about?"
Mhm.
And here, it actually didn't affect me. And she's like, "Whatever." I was like, "Sorry," but there was plenty of times where without
It does
it's-
it. That's a
yeah.
lot of milligrams. Okay.
It's a lot.
So then because you're relapsing, you're changing medication.
Yeah, and I'm changing doctors. So when I went to see the specialist, he repeated the MRI, told me I had a brain tumor, wanted to schedule surgery, and sends me home. By the way, the first actual appointment, I was like, I got this. I've been diagnosed for a year or two. I don't need my husband or my mom to go with me. It's just, seeing a new doctor. We're going to go for the MRI. I'm a pro. Goes and tells me I have a brain tumor. No one's with me. So I'm like, I'm going to die. This is great. This is fantastic. My son's 3, 4 years old. I'm like, I can't do this. I can't, please. So, I end up relapsing because he tells me I have a brain tumor and doesn't return my calls for 3 weeks. So I end up at Medina Hospital because I live in Medina.
Mhm.
And I ended up realizing, being that was Cleveland Clinic, finally turned into Cleveland Clinic, like, hey, we have a whole entire facility called the Mellon Center
Yes.
that is strictly for multiple sclerosis patients at the Cleveland Clinic. So I just switched. And I was like, sweet. So that's how that happened. And then I was in denial between 2014 and 2015. And I was like, I'm not doing this. I don't want to be on any more drugs. This is ridiculous. I ended up doing methotrexate, which was a pill and a chemo form based medication. And my hair, not now, is like a horse's mane. It was so thick and so long.
It thins it out.
Oh, I was like, it was terrible. I was like, I can't. And I looked like I was down to about 120 pounds, and I'm a little bit over 5'6", and I wasn't functioning. So that was another medication that I was on, and then I ended up like I said, being in denial, and I was like, I don't want to take any medication. So between 2014 and 2015, I had a huge relapse. 1 in 14 and 1 in 15, and it was totally different from what I was used to, like just getting weaker, limping, the more
numbness,
pain, and so it now happened on my left side, and it was like someone cut me on my whole entire left side of my body with a razor blade, and you were pouring alcohol in it. That's the best way for me to explain it.
Wow.
Yeah, wasn't fun.
Yeah.
So they explained to me that now the lesions grew to my neck. So now it was going, let alone in my brain, it was going down my neck. And I was like, and they're like, you need to pick an MS drug. And I was like, okay. So then they gave me, at this point, in from just 2010 to 2014 and 15, what's that, 4 or 5 years? Mm-hmm. They had so many drugs. So I'm reading
and all of the side effects.
Oh, it was, so I had a breakdown. I'm like, I'm not doing this. So I didn't go on them again. And then I relapsed again in 15. And then they're like, listen, you have more lesions on your spine. And I saw them. It's not like they were trying to pitch me these drugs. I could read an MRI at that point and realize where I'm like, okay. So then I was like, all right, so I need to do something. So I tried like Tectafora, and then I ended up in the hospital feeling like someone was cutting my guts out with a knife. That was a side effect.
But in doing this, and I want to bring this up because it'll get to where we're going.
Yeah.
On your good days, could you go to the store? Could you live like what was your family feeling? Because did they... kind of going with that whole, the invisibleness of it. Like, were you able to some days look like nothing was wrong?
I look like nothing's wrong all the time.
Yeah, you're fighting all of this in the background.
Let me tell you something. When I relapsed and when that doctor told me I had a brain tumor, I met a physical therapist, and she's sitting there and she's like, well, I have MS. And I looked at her, I'm like, but you look so normal. And she's like, I hate to tell you, honey, so do you. I mean, not at the moment, you're in a hospital bed. But like a light bulb went off.
It is a light bulb. And I can tell you, kind of the reason why this hit my heart is like I said, my mom doesn't have MS, but she has POTS disorder, and she had struggled with this for a while. And I'm her daughter, and I like to say I paid attention. There were so many times where I'm like, Mom, you're fine. Like, why are you forgetting this? Why, like, she would be tired. She would sleep like half days. And I'm like, all you did was walk a little bit. I don't get it. And then there was a moment, and I remember it. She was standing in the backyard. We were setting up tents actually for my wedding. And she literally wasn't there. Like,
you saw it for the first time.
She was not there. And I went, Mom, where do you want the tent to go? She was so overwhelmed by everything. And she had told me a couple times, when I get overwhelmed, like I start shutting down and there's things I can't, and I was like, Mom, you're just tired. Like, why are you so tired? Like, there would be, I literally was talking to her and she was not there. And at that moment I realized, oh my gosh, these really are invisible. Like, there is something serious wrong with her. And I haven't noticed it. And by then it had been like 10 years.
And then you feel like a jerk.
And then I was like, oh, something's really wrong. Like, and so because you do look normal on the outside, my mom keeps herself very nice. She goes to work. She does all these things. And my mom hides things very well because she wants to be normal.
Oh, yeah.
And so at that moment of her, like, literally glazed over, I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is a real thing. And that's something that you probably, and as a daughter, I felt horrible at that moment because I'm like, I kept saying, why do you have to lay? Why do you have to do this? Why do you have to soak your feet? Why do you have to, like, you face that every day. Like,
I felt horrible.
People thinking that.
I felt horrible for my husband on, like, me getting so angry and mad. Steroids didn't help. You know what I mean? Like, how he was, like, not getting it. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't understanding why my family, when there were some days that, I was, like, I felt bad, like, asking, okay, can you take the 1 kid. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
I just felt like I was expected to be normal. That's nobody's fault but my own. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And my husband is the most caring and loving man that I've ever met in my entire life. And he would lay in the street when a car was coming, you know, like,
Mhm.
but it's just when he came to the Mellon Center with me, like he's been to all these appointments, but it's like all of a sudden when I went to the Mellon Center and he walked in with me and he saw these patients in wheelchairs, canes, limping, speech impediments. You know what I'm saying? It was like, crap. You know what I
This
mean?
is real.
Yeah, and it's not like he didn't believe. It's just
You need that realization. Like I said,
because you also don't want to look at your significant other and think that there's even anything wrong. You know what I mean? Like,
but then there's also, I mean, like I was saying, like I didn't notice it, but there were so many times where I would get angry at her. What do you mean you have to go lay down? It's like noon. What do you mean you can't go to this with us? What do you mean you can't do that? And if she did something with us, like an extensive, like I'm saying, like go to the zoo or something.
Oh,
she's in bed for 2 days after that, and
yeah.
I'm like, but why?
Yeah.
And so and I'm the daughter asking those.
It's
like,
okay.
I can't imagine how. What do you mean you're sick today? What do you mean you have to cancel this? What do you mean you have to do that? Like that has to be. How do you emotionally? Like you're physically dealing with all this, but emotionally, how did you handle that?
I didn't go out.
Yeah.
I really didn't. I have a lot of friends now because now I have the community of people from opening up with the MS and also the treatment that I ended up getting. So, but with dealing with that, it's just, I really didn't because I
shut
couldn't.
down.
Oh yeah. I couldn't. I was just there for my husband, and our boys and the dogs. You know what I mean? And I was just a wife, and I was okay with that. But I just didn't. You know, I used to go out with a couple of girlfriends like from high school, like once a year, and even like the last couple times, and we haven't done it in years, and I'm like, oh my god, you know what I mean? Like I just
because you don't have to even tell them.
No, like, and they get it, you know what I mean? But it's just like if I cancel, you know, then it's like if one doesn't go, and it's like it was always going to be me canceling because I'm like I can't, even though I'm looking forward to it. And I also
you can't judge what you're going to feel from one case for the other.
And even like your mom can probably, if she's listening, can probably, like if she knew an event was coming up, she's not going to do a lot. She needs to mentally prepare.
Yeah, and when I ask her to do stuff, she'll even go, I'll let you know how I feel in the morning. I let you know. Or she will mentally
good for her
and physically prepare herself.
Yeah.
And she's got very good at it. But
I had to mentally prepare myself to actually come here.
Yeah.
Really. Because then I was like saying I didn't think this out very thoroughly because I don't like driving at night. It's not far, but you got good old Medina country roads. And I'm like,
that's fine.
Yeah. So, but it's just, if I didn't do the news, like I was literally making sure that I wasn't doing anything up to this. And then the news goes and calls me.
And that's what we're getting to. So that's why I really wanted to bring up, you know, it took me years to even be able to understand, and I still don't think I understand what somebody in my own family was going through because she looked normal. And we discussed this before the show of in society, you know, you see what's on Facebook, you look normal, nothing's wrong with you. Like we judge by our eyes and not, I don't even want to say by our heart, by actually listening and feeling and connecting. And we think what we see is what it is and that's the end of it, and or we like why can't you do this, why can't you do that? So tell us a little bit. So you are doing a petition, and tell us kind of what that petition is, what it signifies, like what it is, what it signifies, and what you're wanting it to become.
Okay, so I have a lot of time on my hands because I am no longer working. I did do a treatment called HSCT, which stands for hematopoietic stem cell transplant. Short stint. MS is an autoimmune disease, and HSCT is a treatment that uses chemotherapy that actually takes out your immune system, essentially wiping away the MS. It is proven to halt the disease / cure your disease because after 5 years of a cancer patient, you are considered cancer-free. A friend of mine
what does that do? Does it take out the blood and give you clean?
So this is where you might faint.
I'm holding onto the table.
Okay, so I went to Chicago. That's a whole entire show. And I had 1 day of chemotherapy to prepare my immune system. I then went and gave myself a shot, which was like a tissue shot called Neupogen, which prepared my bone marrow for 6 days. And
a shot each day.
A shot each day. If I remember, yeah, was it twice a day? No, it's just 1 shot in the morning. Me and my mom, we woke up at the hotel, gave us a shot, and at that point I already had the chemo, so I had to I stayed in the hotel room. The hospital was across the street. So I then went and got a vas catheter in my neck, in my jugular vein. So talk about a needle, that's a tube.
Oh yeah, Olivia Olivia got like a pick thing in her neck.
Pick line was here.
Oh, she had it in her neck.
The vas cath.
Then that must have been what it is. I can tell you I did hit the floor. They wanted me to like hold her. She was 6. They wanted me to help be her mommy. And I'm like, nope, I'm sorry. I'm not going to make the best mom right now.
It was the vas catheter.
And then blood, this is even gross. Blood like squirted everywhere when they put it in. Yeah, done.
Yeah. It's it's very dangerous.
Yeah.
So that they
didn't tell me it was dangerous.
Oh my God. It's putting it in your jugular vein. Yeah, of course it's dangerous.
They didn't. Maybe I didn't hear that part.
I already feel us becoming friends and you calling me if like a tragedy happens. Like, hey, they're going to take blood. I'm going to need you. Okay.
She will drive. She's the kind that will drive right over.
I know. Like, I could tell. Which is fine.
It's okay though. If it's a dog, I can handle it. Just if it's a human.
Great, because I can't. So we're good. This is a match made in heaven. All right. So then I harvested my stem cells. And then
how do you harvest your stem cells?
They took it out
of your
out of my jugular vein. And it was a
Mom,
whole day
just
process.
so you know, we're getting this done like next month.
Okay.
Keep listening.
So I then was admitted to the hospital after a week and then blasted with chemo to my immune system went to below 0.
Because they had your stem cell.
Yes. So my stem cells were harvested.
Is this the same? I'm gonna get gross. Is this the same stem cells like when you have a baby, they want you to keep that sac and freeze them and all that?
That's different, but it's basically essentially.
But it's keeping their stem cells.
It was my own stem cells. So after my immune system went down to 0, you have a stem birthday, and what that means. So
do you eat cake? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you can. Like it's a whole thing. So it's very emotional.
Yeah.
Especially also being a Christian, like me and my mom were crying.
It's a rebirthing.
It's rebirthing. So it was kind of cool to have my mom there the whole entire time, which by the way, she was battling breast cancer. So she's a warrior, totally cleared now and all good. And it was on tax day, so I can never forget my 2nd birthday. And it takes your own and puts your own stem cells back in you. And at that point, your baby stem cells are like little warriors because they don't recognize MS because essentially it's not there anymore.
Yeah.
The damage is still with the brain and on the lesions and whatnot. Okay, so.
But it's
right. It's rebooting a brand new immune system. So I've been home recovering from this. And I saw a post on a multiple sclerosis page from a woman named Lisa, who is also in her 30s, diagnosed with MS. And she wrote this long story, and I could tell you parts of it, but the one thing that stood out to me, and she quoted bad MS day. Anybody with MS, you know what that is. Mm-hmm. I write one like, oh girl, I got you. You know what I mean?
Good days and bad days.
Right. So I've shared a lot on it's called Katie's Hope Journey to End Her MS. It's a blog.
And we will attach that to the page.
Oh, whatever. That's fine. But it's like I have done a lot of updates on myself, but I just basically started to turn a little bit to like when I see something or something motivational, I'm just going to share it. And I shared Lisa's post with a picture. So she parked in a handicap spot. She was having a bad MS day. And there was a note that she came back to on her car that said, leave the parking spots to the handicapped, you selfish bee. And she was devastated. And
thinking she used her grandmother's
parking
pass.
Because she looks completely normal. So then I shared her post on my blog. And then one of my followers, Taylor, says, hey, she's local in Ohio. Mm-hmm. This kind of happened to me. I think it was either that day or the other day, very recent. And then her note was printed. When I get mad, I cry. That infuriated me. Literally just infuriated me. And it wasn't just you jerk, or, typed out. It was a letter, which meant this person carries these notes around in their glove box. So right away, I was like, this is not okay. No. I mean, I started, no one was home. I was scaring my dogs.
Hold on. TV timeout. Hold on.
TV timeout.
So this was a prefabricated note?
Yes.
That they carry
hunts people down.
Almost like they have like a rip-off thing. Just
it was a full page printed out thing. So
ready to go.
Ready to go.
So they probably have 20 of these in their glove
box in their car, right?
Because they don't.
You're gonna see. I'm getting all tingly, which is fine. Yeah. So I was scaring my dogs. I was yelling.
Oh yeah.
Luckily, my father-in-law's deaf. He lives with us, and his hearing aids were in. So I was yelling and this is not okay. And my dogs are looking at me like I'm gonna.
Well, and these are just two stories that you have heard of,
right?
Who is going through this,
right? So, but then it brought up mine, where backtrack into 2012 or 2013, I was pulled over. Someone called the police. So I was having a bad MS day. I used a cane. I used my handicap placard. I was already having anxiety, knowing I had to walk into the back of Walmart to get a mounting kit for my license plate. And I'm like, oh, I'm walking back to the store because if I get in a scooter, then I'm really going to have somebody look at me. You know what I mean? I'm already in just so much pain. So then here.
Oh, Jody's on too. We'll talk about her. Jody owns the Fairlawn DMV. So I'll read her comment in a second.
Why do I know her name?
She is wonderful. I constantly have customers who, this is from Jody. She just commented in. I constantly have customers who will comment nasty things about others that have handicap cards that don't need them. I always ask, how do you know they don't need them? I get various answers, but they are always taken back when I respond something along the lines of, not everyone is has a disability that you can see. Oh, love it, Jody. Keep listening.
So that's the Jody I'm thinking of.
Love her.
I met her at the Fairlawn DMV, and it's
the prettiest DMV you'll ever see. Just so you know, she has it decorated.
Wait, did she come from Medina? Because we lost our girl.
I don't know.
I don't know.
So I go in to get my license, and she goes, "Aren't you that 3-0 to go guy?" I'm like, "Yeah." So at that point, I'm like, I had everything I needed to get the good license, but I was missing one thing. I don't know what it was, but you know how you have to have a list of 10 things?
Yeah. I don't know. I was talking to her last night about
I had 9.
I
had 9. And she goes, "Honey, I'm so sorry." She's like, "You're missing." I'm like, "I'm going to go home. I'm going to get it. I'll come back tomorrow. But can I do a story on this?" And she's like, "Sure." They wouldn't let me do an official thing with them.
Yeah.
But she's like, "Go ahead."
Not from Medina.
She's like, do a thing. You remember I did that stupid video?
Yeah.
This is what you need to get the good driver's license.
Now, Jody
What is a good driver's license?
Oh, you
have to be on a plane versus not.
Yeah,
So if you want to fly, you need driver's license A. If you don't plan on flying, you get driver's license B.
But even if you have driver's license A or B and you go...
When did this become in effect?
It's I think October...
Roughly 2 years ago.
October
2016.
You have to have one.
I think it was end of 2016, beginning of 2017.
Jody, you got us way off track, girlfriend.
Yeah, but
I have questions about this.
Jody, we will call you later.
Yeah, Jody, I need to talk to you later.
Jody just started a whole new special.
Right. This is a totally different subject. I was like, what? Now I want to look at my driver's license.
I was talking to her last night because I have to replace my passport. And I'm like, do I have to get a driver's license and a passport? But Jody, that's exactly what we're talking about is you can't see a disability. Right. And, I couldn't see, people that are in Walmart. I don't know why. You look at somebody a little overweight and you're like, why do you need that cart? Or is it that? Or you're lazy. That's why you're in that mobile cart. Or you don't want to walk. Or the people, and it doesn't even have to be handicapped. The non-moms that are parking in the mom spots just because they want to too. You automatically go, there's nothing wrong with them.
I've done it myself, even being knowledgeable about illnesses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Before I even had one and before my diagnosis, I remember why is that thinking to myself, I would never.
As humans,
it's an instinct.
Instinct to judge.
It is.
It is.
And it's bad.
So how is this petition, like, so that's where the idea came from, but what is it?
And when I come up with an idea,
hits the ground running.
My husband and I have been together for 14 years, married for 13, and he is an inventor by heart. We never patent anything, and it's almost like we share the same brain. Because right away, let's see, with me, I came up and I'm just like, whoop, there I go. Like, I'm not sitting on this. I can't sit on this.
All in.
Plus, because all in or nothing, and I'm bored. So I need something to do. And even he's like, can this make money? I really wish it would, honey, but unfortunately it does not. Yeah. So here, I was sitting there and very, very upset, and it was bringing up to the fact that the police officer pulled me over a couple years ago, or a few years ago, actually. And I remember going in with my cane, coming out, and seeing a cop car. I'm a very observant person. Right away, being a mom, I'm thinking like, oh no, is someone like in the store like passed out or like, you know, it's just like the mom brain. And I was like, well, whatever, I gotta go. So I get in my car, I put my seatbelt on, I reverse, and he starts following me. And I had my husband on speakerphone. I was like, I'll call you right back. I think he's following me. And I'm because at that time, I didn't know if like the law passed. Should you be on your phone? Should you not?
You
like,
never
gotta go. So looking back, it's very like comical because Walmart aisles are like what, 20 of them. So I started going up and down, like crawling, not speeding. Like I was like, he's following. Like pull me over. Like just pull me over. So he pulled me over on the street. He said, I noticed you. Do you know I pulled you over? No, I don't. I noticed you were in a handicap parking spot. And I was like, okay, let's be real here. You did not notice I was in a handicap parking spot. Someone called you. So can you not start this conversation off with a lie? I said it, and I tried to say it
gets me all my
in the most respectful way. You know what I mean? But like, if the Italian Katie came out, I would have been like, yo. No, you did not. You got called. Okay? That hurt my hand. So then here, he's, I was like, well, is it registered to you? I said, as a matter of fact, officer, it is. And he still was like, okay. Like, had that face, like, I'm probably going to go in my glove box and go, oh, I can't find my registration, so he can give me a $500 fine. Yeah. Even if I physically say it's registered to me, if my registration is not in my car, he could have given me a huge ticket. Yeah. I pulled it out of my glove box. I go here before he asked me, I go, here's also my registration and my proof of insurance and my driver's license. But you just wanted the handicap insurance, right? Or proof of that. Mm-hmm. He's like, I'll be right back. Comes back. Can I ask why you have this?
Really? Oh, I would have been like, I would have.
So I looked at him.
The Italian Danielle, who has no Italian in her, would have come out.
So I was like, you know what? I'm going to make you stand in the middle of the street and listen to my entire MS story because, number one, you legally have no right to ask me that. Yeah. And I made him stand, and as you well can see, and everybody who's listening to this, I like to talk. So it was a good 10 minutes. And at that time, I had a brain tumor scare, which I believe we talked about, and I also had a breast cancer scare. I had a biopsy done. That was fun. Not recommended.
Not recommended.
But, it is what it is with that. So he apologized. He's like, I am so sorry. And I said,
but it probably was an eye-opener to him.
It was.
Again.
But he goes and says, I noticed you don't have a front license plate on. And I said, it's right here. Would you like to follow me to my work where my husband's at, where we both work, to put it on? So go ahead and put that in your notes. That's why you pulled me over. Yeah. I said, can I go now? So yeah. So that was my story with my handicap sticker. That was enough to say. It was enough. But I kind of just let it, life got ahead of me or whatever. And then being that I'm, recovering from HSCT and I'm at home and I'm
Jody was like, what?
Like, right, Jody? Yeah, anyways. Yeah. So I got the idea to write Ellen DeGeneres.
We all love Ellen.
We all love Ellen.
It's like my dream.
She's like...
Do you know, at one time, this is a really funny story, when I was getting pregnant with Carter, at one time...
Wait, when?
Carter was planned. When I was getting pregnant with Carter, we were talking about getting pregnant with Carter, I literally almost planned him...
In the moment?
Maybe during. Honestly, his dad would vouch for this 100%. We almost talked about when we were going to have him so that I could be on the mom show for Ellen DeGeneres, because it's that good.
Stop.
I'll be honest. There's only 2 times I turn into Ellen and Jimmy. Okay, Jimmy is for when they steal the Halloween candy from the kids.
Yeah.
And for Ellen, it's when her like producer goes through the haunted house.
No, I love Ellen. I was going to arrange my second child.
That man
so
needs a raise, okay? Because what Ellen puts that poor man through.
I agree.
But it's just so entertaining, and it's just like
I was going to have my second child arranged by Ellen's show.
I got it.
Okay, well.
It just is. I love her.
Okay, so what's really...
That's better than my childhood love was Rosie O'Donnell.
Oh, yeah.
Like...
Love her.
Ridiculous. And now it's
Yeah.
Ellen. So you contacted Ellen.
Yes.
But not to have a baby, not to be on her show.
Not to have a baby. No.
Wait a minute. I need to rephrase that. I did not contact.
Sound effects tonight.
I did not contact.
Side effects?
I do have sound effects. She never lets me use them.
This is like that Clinton thing. I did not have relations with Ellen to have a baby.
That's really how you're portraying this to be. Okay.
Can we cut this? Can we cut that?
We're live.
podcast?
Aren't we live?
We're live.
We are live.
Okay. My cheeks hurt. This is awesome. Okay. So I wrote a letter to Ellen DeGeneres, and I actually had my mom proofread it. And I came up with the idea right away. And it's not just for MS. Let me be clear. Let me just
There's so many invisible diseases.
Right. There's a lot. Well, there's a good 10 of them that I could literally multiple sclerosis, fibromyalgia, lupus, ALS, POTS.
And the first
Mom,
thing,
you could have a handicap sticker.
the first thing I thought was PTSD for veterans.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Pause.
Okay.
That. Not
We can't
literally.
pause. We're live.
Right. But I just say that in figure of speech. So I started doing research when I realized that I wanted to create a handicap placard with a different color for strictly people with invisible diseases, because in all honesty, the majority people that own and legally have a blue handicap placard registered to them have an invisible disease no matter what age they are, period.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got to keep in mind, when you think handicap and stuff, let alone, yes, a wheelchair, you kind of just think old people.
Well, how do you get your doctor gives you
your
Jody
doctor
might be able to answer this.
Your doctor prescribes
prescribes your handicap sticker.
Yes, on a script,
prescription thing.
You
take that prescription to the DMV?
Yes, you do. You take the prescription thing with your license, with your, you know what I mean, and they and it says on this prescription pad from your doctor, from February, this is the month, it's going to expire in 1 year, it's going to expire in 10 years. You know what I mean?
You do picture that somebody who has a handicap sticker should be retired. They should be old.
Right. They should be old.
They should be amputated legs.
Right.
Like something severe.
Something severe. That was my perspective on it. Like, handicap sticker is for an old person.
Got to be in a wheelchair.
That's it.
I'll use my mom and dad as an example. So dad's 81, 82, mom's 76, 77. And one has a cane.
Okay.
They both walk very slow, and they have that little hunch going on, right?
Yep.
So
they're so cute.
Yeah, they're cute. They're adorable. I love them. 50 years coming up this year. All right. Point being, they look elderly, handicapped. Not so much immobilized, but they look like they should have that sticker.
Yeah. Do they?
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
Yeah, they do.
Okay. And they use
So your idea was to create something so that
specifically for all invisible diseases and disabilities, because once I started doing research, I already knew in the state of Ohio, let alone we have a blue one. Okay. There's a red one. And I already knew what it was because I saw one years ago and I was like, what is that? I want to know what that is. I've never seen a red one. There's a red one. Jody can tell you it's temporary. So for people that are going through chemotherapy, yes, but normally it's like if you break your foot, your leg, you know what I mean? Like somebody that just needs a temporary, like just to go for the next 6 months that you're going to have mobility issues until you recover, you're fine.
I've never heard of such a thing.
I've never heard of it.
In the state of Ohio, Jody, am I right?
Jody, you need to be on our show to tell me what these things mean.
It's a red handicap placard, which is temporary. And I believe she can correct me. This I don't know. I believe it's only up to 1 year. So and they do the pokes things. It could be a week. It could be 3 months. It could be 6 months.
But that's how they determine. So that color does make a difference.
Right.
So you are trying to bring one for the invisible disease. So with this petition, kind of tell us
And yes,
Um,
an MO.
She said it's 6
Natalie.
months. She's responding
6
right
months?
now. She's
Red is
Perfect.
temporary, 6 months or less. Okay.
There you go. See, so and I knew about it because I've seen one, and I asked my B&B girl in Medina. I was like, "What's the red one for?" But this was years ago when I
Don't
saw
go to
it.
Medina. Always go to Fairlawn B&B. I'm telling you, I'm going to plug Jody. I'm telling you, I hate DMVs until I went there. Now I don't dread them anymore.
Why you?
And the walls are turquoise.
Well, Fairlawn, you're in and out.
Exactly. You're in and out.
And I'll be honest, I've noticed a difference.
We're
because
back on this.
if
Jody, you're not our sponsor tonight, but we're like
if
plugging
you go to
in.
Barberton, and I'm not bad mouthing Barberton, but
I'm in and out in Medina because I go at the right time.
yeah, it's all about time. A lot of it's about time.
Right time.
So what will this bring? So where are you now with this? So you had to create a petition to get it to go to Senate and the House and all that.
I saw you were going for orange.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Why orange?
I don't like the color orange. Let me be clear.
Why
So-
are the handicap stickers gonna be orange? Could have made them turquoise.
I know, right? But it's too similar to, so because I'm the one that came up with the idea, the MS ribbon, the color is orange. That's why. So out of this petition started 3 weeks ago, this past Tuesday.
3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago.
And
if
we'll tell you where
someone
it's at
can
now.
look- yeah, because I can. I'm pretty sure I'm up to
Thanks for the
5,000 by
plug.
the time. Yeah. You're welcome, Jody.
I need a list of what I need for that driver's license, Jody. That's
Yes.
what your fee is.
But it's just that's why I chose the color orange.
No, hold on.
Yes.
Watch my freaking show. Are you serious? You're part of the 3 Throw to Go network, and you didn't watch the license episode?
You go live all the time.
It was 10 minutes long.
Jody
10 minutes
sent
of
me a
your
list,
time.
so I don't
Jody
have to
gave
watch
me
the
what
show.
to do, and I told you. I'm tagging you. I'm tagging you.
Facebook messaged me the list so I don't have to watch the show.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so anyways,
Sorry.
this
This is why it's a podcast. It's like a morning talk show.
I know this. This is awesome. So here,
I should have a sign
that's
with
why.
squirrels back here. Something.
Yeah, with all of the let alone the close to 5,000 signatures on the petition, which is on change.org. We'll obviously say what it is.
We will post all of
Yeah.
that and have all of that.
I've posted on a lot of avenues, on Facebooks, on group pages.
But you're making people something that I've noticed because I've been following your page.
Yeah.
People are like, "Oh my gosh, that's me." Oh my, like they're being
Everybody's sharing their personal stories.
recognized.
Yeah.
They're being drawn out of this. I feel like, and I've seen it with my family that you think something's wrong with you, you dormant, and you stay quiet. You
Yeah.
stop going out. You stop doing things. You don't
there's-
want people
yeah.
to know. I can tell you, she didn't want people to know something was wrong with her.
Yeah.
And so she'd stay home. These people are sharing their stories. They're excited because you're just like them, or they're
Yep.
just like this person.
Right.
And that is such a, it's a rewarding thing for me to read. And I can't relate, but I love
that you're intrigued by it because
Mhm.
this, let alone, first of all, there's only been 3 comments that were not positive. One gentleman pointed out, and luckily nobody liked or loved or hated his comment or even commented back to him. He pointed out something about how it seemed like I was complaining about the police officer, but if somebody was shot or robbed, that's the first person I'm going to call. Let me be clear. I love policemen. Okay. Yes. The police, I was actually not even upset that he pulled me over. He was doing his job.
yeah.
But here's the problem. Obviously, if it was identified as an orange handicap placard at
He
the
would have
time,
known.
he would have gotten a call, done his job, because it's a fine. If it's not registered to you,
Well,
you're not
and
allowed
let's
to
be
use
honest,
it.
there are people abusing it.
Absolutely, there's
There
people
are
abusing
people
it.
abusing it.
There
and
are
people
people
are
abusing it.
using the wrong ones. And
Yep.
people,
But we're all, and even that's actually when the person that I met with said, that's gonna be one of the things that, the House and the Senate are gonna come back and say, well, they're gonna abuse it. Well, guess what? They abuse the blue
they're
one
going to
anyways.
abuse
Right.
everybody
They abuse
abuses
every-
everything.
right. So
Every
it's
law
not-
yeah.
It doesn't matter. So it's
So
really,
where are we on this path? So we
Yeah.
are 3 weeks. You're at over. Well, we were
3
looking
weeks.
at it. We had like 33. You had 33 till you got to 5,000. Right?
yeah. So
And people,
How do you keep track of it?
I it's on my thing.
it comes up. It
yeah.
shows the signature. So
Yeah.
your little idea was on News Channel 5 last night.
It was.
They wanted to do a story. It's got all of these. We're over 5,000. Oh my We're at 5,200
What?
signatures. See.
Oh, good.
So your
Yeah,
goal
but
is
I was
100,000.
at 4, like, yeah, I mean, it's
What-
going.
Since it was on News 5, it's grown.
But what's
Yeah.
what's the goal, and what does it need to be like recognized by the state?
10,000 or not 10,000? 100,000. No, it's 10,000. Is it 100,000?
Okay, wait.
And who do you want to get it in front of?
Senate and House.
Right.
In Ohio.
Correct, because that's where I live.
Right.
So I'm having people that are contacting me and I'm friends with on like Instagram and Facebook that are Canada, France, Brazil. Should we sign this? Yes. Yes, you should. Because you're telling me this is an issue where
Everywhere.
you're at. So yes, you should sign this. And the only place that I have found in the world, because I was able to do my research in the United States,
Mhm.
and I didn't see that anybody had a different kind of color handicap, honestly, besides the state of Ohio. I was just informed about somebody that told me, I believe it was Virginia or Kentucky, they do have a different color, but I think it's for temporary like Ohio, and I think it's orange, which is fine.
Mhm.
Okay. So in Finland, someone contacted me from Finland and said that they have handicap placards for invisible diseases in Finland. And I thought that, let alone you're contacting me from Finland.
That's just cool.
That's just, let's just be real. I just wanted to hear her voice and I couldn't. And
Can
they
you
were just
call
typing,
me so I
you
can hear
call
your
me? I know it's
accent?"
Just
international.
Zoom or Skype.
But she's
I mean,
like me. She just
That's
wants to hear
free.
him talk
Just-
because of the accent.
Yeah, 100%.
Never mind. We're on the same page.
Yeah,
He's
got
not. Okay. So, and that like it literally, I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome.
Your little idea has
Yes,
got to
it's
that point.
right.
Yeah.
So I did. I wrote Ellen DeGeneres. No, I did not hear back. I wrote her, let alone a letter, and my mom helped me like proofread it. And even at the end, and she's like, take that out. At the end, I even said, I don't even want it. Like, I'm not asking to be on the show. I just need your help on where to start. Like, where do I start? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And my mom's like, of course you want to be on the show. I was like, well, of course I want to meet Ellen, but I don't like, I want her to know that I just
Sounds
want her
like we have
help.
a road trip going on in planning.
Well, I've got good news. I'll share it in a minute.
Okay. So I mailed the letter along with like 2 of my t-shirts that I use for my fundraiser because I have entirely way too many t-shirts left and I just need to get rid of them. So I'm like, here's some t-shirts for you and Portia. You're welcome. They're probably going to use them for their dogs, which is fine. Totally fine. But I didn't hear back, obviously. But
Mhm.
there was like a day or two and I was like, I can't sit on this. I'm not going to wait for Ellen DeGeneres to
get back to
get
you.
back to me. It could be a year. It could, like, I am bored. This is something that's a problem. So I started to do research and I started to, a petition, light bulbs God just really kept opening doors.
Yeah.
And it just kept going, here you go. And I'm like, okie dokie, here we go. And I found change.org. And that's
Yep.
where I basically took the bits and pieces of the letter that I wrote to Ellen. Just because it was like a 5-page letter, so hence I talk a lot. But I just put the little snippet of, do you know anybody
Yeah.
with an invisible disease or whatever? This is what I'm petitioning. I told you I like Mike.
You're fine.
And see, there goes my hands. And see what happens when I talk with my hands. And I started the petition, and I started sharing it here and there. I did send it to a couple news stations and what when I first started it, and I tagged Ellen in a bunch of stuff. I can tell you Edie by Ellen, which is her line. So
Mhm.
on Instagram, every time I do tag them in a story, they see it every time.
Mm.
So I'm like, okay, and it's probably just an employee probably going, okay, here's another one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is fine.
But it's still pretty cool.
It's still when it first happened, I kind of was like, what? And then I realized every time I tagged the her line or whatnot, it was they said like, okay, it's just an automatic thing.
Okay.
So after I started the petition, I just kept on it every day, and I did some updates. I did the research, and I found out that you have to get 150 signatures within 30 days to be recognized on whitehouse.gov. I got 150 signatures within
3 hours.
3 hours. And then it's like 100,000 signatures.
That's what it was,
with
100,000.
100,000 within 30 days or something like that to be recognized
So we need to get her from 5,000 to 100,000, guys. Come on now.
Let's go. But the good news
I
is
expect it by Saturday.
that would be. I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be able to walk if that happens, which is fine. I recover. It's totally great. It's fine. I'm not dying. It's okay. It's just a thing. So I had a lady contact me who is not. I have to find out if she's on the ballot or not. Actually, I met with her.
She was going to be on.
Yeah, she was going to. I don't want to say what she was doing or who she is, even though she said I could. But like the House of Representative, district number, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And when she's like, I need to meet with you, like if it's after the holidays, I'm like, nope, again, I'm not working, right now. Let's go. And we had a really great conversation, and I'm actually going to pitch to her for the orange handicap placard, and she is going to email a couple legislators that are on the Senate and on the House for the state of Ohio. So I will be traveling, hopefully, to Columbus after, obviously, the holidays and the New Year to sit with these women that are special people and that need. And I asked her, like, how does this work? And she's like, once it's pitched to them and they're like, yes, okay, this is a fantastic idea. Some are in the medical field, which is a great thing. A couple
because they're going to understand.
Yeah, they're going
to
understand.
Okay.
And once that happens, then they go and pitch it to the House, and the Senate votes. And like she said, you're going to have people like the negative party, like,
of course,
they're going to abuse it. Of course they are. We abused the blue one. You know what I mean? But I'm going to have the thousands and thousands and thousands of comments. You know what I mean?
But is the people abusing it outweigh the people who are benefiting it?
Nope. Not at all.
All right.
So,
what's your thought?
So I'm going to shamelessly drop some names for you. Okay.
Hope you write these down.
This is the secret voice of the producer.
Mm-hmm. Did you introduce yourself? By
no,
the way?
I don't have to. They know who I am.
He interrupts all the time.
I interrupt
they
all
know
the time.
him. He also
So
that's the producer in the background, just so you know.
The voice from above.
I made him get a mic because before he didn't have a mic. And he
Right.
Yeah,
I would
I
just
actually
yell.
with Rebecca's. I was like, what is that voice in the
It's
background?
a
I would just
mysterious
yell.
voice.
All right. So earlier this year, I did some legislation proposals with Jesse Unk. Jesse's part of our Rubber City Reviews podcast. He's also part of the Made to Motivate podcast here in Akron.
Is that a guy?
It's a guy.
Okay.
He was real big into gun legislation and doing common sense gun legislation for Ohio.
Okay.
So we submitted it, and it was actually accepted, and Sherrod Brown took a look at it.
Oh, I did watch all this.
So Sherrod, so I have a way to get this information in front of Sherrod Brown. Okay.
I also have a very good legislator.
More importantly, my wife, Kate. She was here, Kathy, right? Mm-hmm. Her maiden name is Kathy Dillon. All right. So she grew up.
I did not know that.
She grew up on East Yellow Springs Fairfield Road, down the street from Mike DeWine and his family. Our governor, Mike DeWine.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
Mike DeWine.
So, hold on. So my father-in-law, Dick Dillon, Richard, he is first or second cousins with Mike DeWine. All right. So we always joked, growing up, we would always take the kids to DeWine's Pond. My point is, there is a significant opportunity that I can probably get this on the governor's desk for you. Okay. So on my end,
yes to everything.
On my end, that is.
Cheers to you.
Yes to everything.
On my end.
And with that note, we're done. Okay.
My point is, I will do my part to figure out how to make that happen. And I'll probably be seeing them during Christmas at church, most likely. So.
Do they go to Grace?
No. These people all live in Yellow Springs, Ohio.
In what Springs?
Yellow Springs, Ohio. If you ever heard
I
of it.
feel like that's on the show Scandal, where it's like, but Deliverance is actually a city.
Antioch College. Have you heard of Antioch?
Yes.
So if you took Yellow Springs, it's where Dave Chappelle is from.
It's big.
It is tiny. It's like 1965 preserved in a snow globe.
Stop it.
It's hippies.
That sounds like a Hallmark movie.
I could do it.
Yeah.
I could do a
like,
whole,
where's it at? Like, where does like?
By Dayton.
Oh, okay.
It's about 25 to 30 minutes direct east of Dayton.
Oh, okay.
Now that you said that, on Christmas Day, which I will be there Christmas Day, every year I'm there on Christmas Day, I will do a walk around downtown Yellow Springs.
Yes.
As the 330.
Just released another show then.
You're
welcome. Great. So that's where I wanted to, we got to wrap up, but wanted to kind of just tell what you're doing and why you're doing it. And I thank you for sharing your story and the backing of it. And it is taking off. The signatures are happening. The doors are being opened.
Yes.
And good things are going to happen. Good things are going to happen. Please, we're going to, actually, I think I did not share the petition, but we will share that. Please, viewers, please,
I think
share
you
it on your
did.
page. I think I did.
Well,
share
you
it.
shared the news.
I shared the news.
Which at the bottom there it
had the
says
petition
here.
I will
whatever.
specifically just
That's
share
fine.
the petition too. But
Okay.
all great things. We wish you the best in it,
Thank
and we're
you.
gonna follow her journey. She's now stuck with me, unfortunately.
Yay! I'm
follow,
excited.
follow the journey with it, and kind of promote it, and do the news promoted it. Hopefully, I can promote it as much as the news did.
Yes.
But please, we're going to keep this conversation going. Any questions? Anybody able to just relate? She loves messages. She loves, to find people that can relate to this and hear their story. And so please feel free to message her anytime.
Yes.
Anything else you want to close with? Or
Just to know that obviously, anybody with an invisible disease or disability, you mentioned PTSD. By the way, that just became in effect in August of 2019 that they put that word, now they legalized it, where people with PTSD are allowed to have a handicap sticker. That wasn't before.
Oh.
So things are already, So when I did research on the actual history of it, that happened. But just know.
But they would have a blue one.
They would have a blue one, right. But PTSD is invisible.
Mhm.
So if and when this happens for at least the state of Ohio, because that's where I have to start, because that's where I live.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You will have the option to have an orange one. And, but just know that you're not alone. And it's something that you do. There are a ton of groups on there, whether it is lupus or POTS or fibromyalgia, ALS, oh my gosh, ALS. It's just, that is devastating. And, Eric Stevens is, if you do watch Ellen?
Mhm.
So you saw it. I meant every day. I'm every day. So
Maybe.
yeah. So maybe, but it's just, just first of all, let alone to the people out there that have invisible diseases, just know that you aren't alone. There is a community of people. You really are sisters and brothers. And for the people that don't have an invisible disease or don't even know about them, or even fibromyalgia. I didn't know about fibromyalgia until my sisters were even diagnosed. Both of my sisters were diagnosed with it. And so if you do see somebody with an orange with an orange one,
We've already officially
they're being printed. No, with a blue handicap placard, just know that sometimes you can't see their suffering or their pain.
Yeah.
And just be kind. Be kind. That's why I contacted. Be kind. It's that simple. Stop being jerks. So that's basically what it is. And I am absolutely grateful that you had me on the show. So this was fun.
We are going to continue to support you in this, and hopefully this opens some people's eyes to the fact that just because they look fine doesn't mean they're not struggling with something each and every day.
Right.
And, whether that's physical, emotional, all of them. So thanks for tuning in tonight.
Merry Christmas. Happy
Merry
holidays.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
We will not have a show next week.
Because it's Christmas.
Yes. I will be on my couch stuffed because I ate too much for 2 days straight. So Merry Christmas. Thanks for joining us. And continue the conversation on our page.
Yes.
Bye, guys. This Sip of Solidarity podcast is a copyright of the 330 To Go Media Network. Thank you for tuning in.